back and smile, smile, smile. Mindless optimism. That's the tone we need to take.
Agreed. Here we are again with another pre-show. All you patrons, gather round.
It is astonishing. Another pre-show. And look, they're still in their elegant summer clothes. But you know what, you guys? Those of you wearing straw Panama hats, the summer is slowly winding down. And in a week or two, before you leave your oh-so-elegant resort to go back to your work and your real lives, there'll be a big bonfire of Panama hats on the beach. That was 100 years ago. That was a regular ritual of the end of summer at resorts.
Interesting.
They wouldn't do it with boaters, of course, because boaters, as we know, last too long.
Yeah.
But they would do it with the Panamas, which basically by the time you're finished with them in the summer, it's a wreck. So they'd have a big bonfire of Panama hats.
Wow.
Isn't that neat?
That's neat.
Summer. Ice cream, salads, chilled white wine.
Wait, so you said ice cream and then salads?
Salads. I mean, I wouldn't have the salad after the ice cream unless you're pregnant. But I'm just the things that summer mean to me.
Interesting. Well, why salads?
Salads because, I mean, you know, they're light. They're tasty. I mean, if the dressing is good. I've had some salads I could have done without. But, you know, they're just a cold weather kind of, warm weather other kind of, like coleslaw. That's another one. You'd have some fried chicken, barbecue.
That's interesting. Do you have any alcohol where you think summertime alcohol?
Yeah, Pim's Cups.
What is that?
Pim's Cups. Pim's is a liqueur, so to speak, that the English make. And they add fruit juices and stuff to it, and they make a Pim's Cup for hot weather. You don't find them too often anymore, but in Austria, they in the cafes in Vienna, they have what's called a Mazagran, which is made with rum or brandy and coffee and ice. And it's quite nice, the Mazagran. As I say, chilled white wine. Really chilled.
Yeah.
Iced tea. I'm not a lemonade fan, but lemonade, you know.
Okay.
I mean, it's when you see and hear lemonade in pictures, to me that says summer.
Definitely.
I mean, I'm not much of a lemonade fan, but just hearing it and seeing people.
Yeah, that's what people do with lemonade.
Go. Well, you know why? It's because it reminds them of their childhood when they were out of school. And of course, summertime, we're resorts. I mean, resorts were always by the seaside or by lakes or in the mountains.
Right, because you guys are typically, my understanding is you go out of New York for the summer or something like that.
Oh, gosh, yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, any big city is like that. Rome, Paris, Rialto.
Rialto?
Yeah, Rialto.
Is that a big city?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
But why do you think the Norconian was such a big hotel?
You're talking about Norco?
Yeah.
This is a tiny town over in San Bernardino County.
Well, yeah, but that's where people from Rialto would go to summer. They'd summer at the Norconian.
That was like a joke. That's like a joke over here because it's like back in high school, get your driver's license, go to the Norco DMV.
Yeah.
Because there's nothing open there.
No, well, see, that used to be a good deal going to Norco or not Rialto, West Covina.
Yeah.
Now, it's, I don't know about Norco now, but West Covina now is as bad as anywhere.
Yeah.
But it used to be. West Covina at DMV was just, you go there's dead.
Yeah.
It was like, you know, it tells you something when the DMV workers are bored, you know, instead of stressed.
Yeah.
Because usually DMV workers, they're dealing with 1,000 different people at once. Everybody wants something, and they're, you know, it's a hard job. But when you go to a DMV office, everyone's looking like, well, that's a quiet DMV.
Yeah.
And that, incidentally, ladies and gentlemen, if you ever go to work in the DMV in your own state, remember, bored is better than stressed.
Indeed. All right. Very good. All right, let's do some questions, yeah?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. All right. Vendée Radio says, please could you tell the story of Father Alexander Cameron and how we might promote his cause for canonization?
Well, I could and I shall. Father Alexander Cameron was a very interesting man, born in 1701, a nobleman, a Scots nobleman, to a very fine clan, the Camerons, who were very loyal to the rightful king, at the time, James II. But when he came of age, James III, he went to Rome and served as a chamberlain to King James III and converted to Catholicism from High Church Anglicanism. Well, eventually, he went into the Scots College in Rome and he became a Jesuit, and he was sent back to the Highlands in 1741, where he was what was called a heather priest, which is like a hedge priest in Ireland. You know, they're illegal, they're not loved, they're not wanted by the powers that be. But he and two other priests lived in a cave together, for which they would go out into the countryside and minister to the faithful. And he made a lot of converts, so much so that in 1744 there was a bit of a crackdown on the part of the locals because so many of the local authorities. But then, in 1745, the news had come. The prince had come again. Bonnie Prince Charlie had landed with the 7 men of Moidart. And just a couple of days ago was the anniversary of raising the standard at Glenfinnan. Now, see, there was another ship or two that had soldiers and weapons and money and, the small things. But unfortunately, it didn't make it. Neither with the other one or two, however many there were. So he shows up on the shore of Scotland with 7 men, the 7 men of Moidart, who were Irish. A couple of them were Scots, I think. But anyway, so the head of Clan Cameron, the gentle Lochiel, and a bunch of other folk tried to convince him that, he should leave and wait for better times. But he said, guys, no. I'm here. If we don't do it now, we'll never do it. And so they raised the standard. And Father Cameron became a chaplain in his kinsman's regiment. And off they marched to glory. And boy, did they ever. They swept through the Highlands to Edinburgh, where the prince held court in his father's name. They defeated a much larger army at the Battle of Prestonpans. And then they marched into England, all the way down to Derby. And unfortunately, his lieutenants, because the English did not rise to the numbers that they had hoped for, and because they had been fed misinformation, they basically decided mutinied and forced him to turn around and go back, which he said, that's the end of it. We won't win.
Yeah.
But he stuck with his men till the terrible defeat at Culloden, at which Father Cameron helped his 2 brothers to escape. He himself was shot through both ankles and captured. And he died of maltreatment and hunger and abuse in one of the prison hulks in 1746. And that was the ruin of the Jacobite cause at that time, anyway. So that was the story. Now, since 2020, the Knights of St. Columba, who are the British version of the Knights of Columbus, have been promoting his canonization. So if you're interested, right away to the Knights of St. Columba in England. You can find their address online. And they will get you holy cards. He was a great man, he was a holy man, and he served in 2 great causes, one eternal and the other temporal. And, this is a typical example. People say, well, gee, the Jacobites lost. not when you consider the kind of men they produced and the sort of things those men did, both there and later. Anyway, so that's the story of Father Cameron.
All right, Von Day has another question. He says, Dear Charles, what is your opinion on the Catholic historian William Thomas Walsh?
Absolutely great. One of the best. I can't endorse him highly enough. He wrote books like Characters of the Inquisition, which, before anybody's little snout yaps on the Inquisition, should read it first. And if you deal with people whose snouts yap on the Inquisition, you need to read it. But he also did Isabella II, the Last Crusader, Philip II, both of which are tremendous studies. I really can't recommend William Thomas Walsh enough. He lost his faith at Harvard, I think, Yale or Harvard, one or the other, one of the two dumps, and he lost his faith there. And when he regained it, he described the experience later. He said, "I resolved to regain my faith down to the last sacramental," which I thought was a nice way of putting it.
Interesting.
So, yeah, I'm all for him.
Yeah, he's one of those brand names, in terms of Catholic historians you can trust. At least from my standpoint.
Yeah, mine too.
Yeah. John has a bunch of questions. His first question is, what is the history of the church in the Philippines?
Well, once upon a time there was a church, and it was built, and it was in the Philippines.
Go on.
Well, there's more. No, well, the faith was introduced to the Philippines in the 1500s. The Philippines were colonized under Philip II. Magellan had stopped there first on his way around the world. And as in Latin America, the faith became intertwined with Philippine culture. There are a number of miraculous statues like the Black Christ of Cebu and a number of images of Our Lady. It just became part and parcel of the Filipino people, as with Italy or Mexico. And so things stood for several centuries. But then, under the influence of foreign ideas, I don't want to mention Freemasonry, but they began a move for independence. And ironically, unlike Cuba, this would be hampered rather than helped by the conquest of the Philippines by the United States in 1898, in what was surely one of our most unjust wars. We fought a number of unjust wars, ladies and gentlemen, but the 1898 war against Spain was horrible. It really does not redound well to our credit. That having been said, the Governor General appointed to run the Philippines, William Howard Taft, had a bit of a problem, and that was the bishops and the church were heavily Spanish. So what do? Well, what he did was there was a schismatic priest named Father Agnepai who started his own church, the Agnepaians, and Governor General Taft gave him the church property. And then our government in Washington told the Holy See, well, you can have most of it back if you get rid of your Spanish bishops and replace them with Irish American ones.
Really?
Really. And so they did that. And the church got most of the property back. And Bishop Jimenez y Guzman was replaced by Bishop O'Halloran.
Are you serious?
Yeah. And the church in the Philippines became one of the many tools for anglicizing and Americanizing the Philippine people. And eventually we decided we didn't want to hold on to the Philippines because, they are kind of foreign and dark and weird and stuff. So we decided, 1936, we'll give you independence in 10 years. World War II intervened, but it didn't matter. We gave them independence in 10 years. And in 1946, they became the Independent Republic of the Philippines, as they have been ever since.
Okay.
And the forcible de-Hispanicization of the culture and the faith in the Philippines produced a very odd mindset. And You really need to talk to Filipinos to understand what I mean. You really do. They'll tell you. Any devout Catholic Filipino will tell you about the odd elements that have all gone in to shape this thing. And as a result, there's a sort of interesting randomness about Filipino Catholicism in that there are different elements that they picked up from other places. They're like, why? I mean, don't get me wrong. They're never bad. But I'll give you an example, okay? My dad's name was Guy, which is not, you may or may not have noticed or cared, it's not a Coulombe family name.
Right.
You know, we've all got names like Joseph and Alexis and Andre and things like that. Not Guy.
Mm-hmm.
But when my father was born in the year of our Lord, 1926, there was a very popular servant of God called Guy de Fongalon, who was a boy who died, I think, at 12 years old or 11 or something.
Mm.
He was the youngest non-martyr ever to be proposed for sainthood.
Mm.
And he was very, very popular, and especially amongst the French Canadians. He was a French boy from Paris.
Yeah.
So my dad was named Guy after Guy de Fongalon. Well, he became very popular in the Philippines. And so there are Guy de Fongalon football teams and things like that in the Philippines to this day. Nobody else has heard of him, but they have in the Philippines.
Okay. So are Filipinos named Guy?
Oh, you'll find someone named Guy. Yeah.
Okay. Huh.
I mean, you see what I mean? It's not that there's anything wrong with that by any stretch. It's just, oh, okay. But one of the other things is that the de-Hispanicization and the Anglicization was so successful that in this country, in major cities like Los Angeles, San Francisco, with a large Hispanic and Filipino population, the Hispanic side of the church will be very Spanish. But because Catholic Anglos don't reproduce anymore, most of the churchgoers in the inner cities in Catholic churches, the English masses, are Filipinos.
Can confirm, yes.
I have been to an English language mass in Vienna run by Filipinos. And I've seen one in Prague at the Church of Our Lady Victorious, where the Little Infant of Prague is.
What are they doing in Austria?
What does everyone do in Austria? Having a much better time than wherever they're from. Oh, I'm sorry, that came out wrong.
I guess, it's kind of a very U.S.-centric mentality I have, because the United States, you sort of picture it as the magnet for immigration, and so you wonder what the immigration, at least from my layman U.S. standpoint, like, so people are immigrating into Austria from...
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
From all over the place.
Yeah.
In the Arabian, in the Persian Gulf and Yemen and all that,
Yeah.
Everywhere outside Saudi Arabia where the church is illegal, the Filipinos make up a huge part of the church in those parts of the world.
Mm.
Our friend Peter will be very happy to, from Ascoki.
Yes.
Peter Barlow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He said he gave us a shout out last week.
He did.
Because, yeah.
You know the man who says bye for now.
Yeah.
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 Well, he lives in Dubai, and he'll tell you that in his parish are a ton of Filipinos.
Peter lives in Dubai?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I guess he's going where the money is.
You hear you? Oh.
I mean, that's
Poor persecuted me. Peter's got to Dubai. Charles has got to Vienna. I guess I'm just here holding the line.
I guess so. I guess so. Everybody's leading me.
Peter is Canadian, so he's got a right to move wherever he wants.
What does that mean?
Well, Dubai was a British protectorate.
Well, okay.
So, he's a Canadian. He can, take advantage of that.
Okay, fine.
And I moved to Austria to go to school to improve myself, to become a better person. Yeah, uh-huh.
Well, isn't that generally the reason people move is to have a better life?
No.
I moved over here to really just let loose. I just moved here to just basically drink myself to death.
Well, we do that. I mean, why else? Why would anyone move to Arcadia? Oh.
It's okay.
The slip sink ships,
Yeah.
boss.
That's okay.
It is true. Arcadia started as Sin City.
Yeah. All right.
It's true.
Um,
It was all booze, beer gardens, and houses of repute.
yeah.
When it started, those are the 1880s. Now they don't come to those names anymore.
Yeah.
We call them City Hall. Huh?
All right. What is Mr. Coulombe's favorite book out of the Bible?
Well, that is hard, and there are many to choose from. But I would say the Gospel of John, Gospel of St. John. Not the Johannine Gospel. No. The Gospel by St. John of Patmos, who also wrote epistles and the Apocalypse. That's St. John.
Okay.
Have you ever read any theological works by the Ronnerite author?
No.
No? Are you sure?
Yeah.
I see. Because the Ronnerite author, his name has been used for many manuscripts. And there may even have been a person at one point named Karl Rahner, although one can't really be sure.
All right. Final question for the pre-show. John says, "Is Christianity a patriarchal religion?"
Yes, yes, yes. What is God? Oh, the Father. Oh, yeah, that part I remember. And God the Father, God the Son, God the Holy Ghost. All of whom present themselves in a male manner, a masculine manner. So, yeah, it's a patriarchal religion. But that doesn't mean that there isn't room within that for the power of the Blessed Virgin Mary or for the nastiness of teaching nuns.
Well, since we're this hasn't been a long pre-show, I'll extend this question. I actually believe it or not, I think you took a question on her before, Julian of Norwich.
Yes.
Yeah. Very interesting one. She's alleged mystic, and she focuses a lot on God's love, a lot very consolation type stuff. I don't know how to take all of it.
Were you consoled?
It's consoling.
No.
Where it's like when she says things like, your sins are tiny drop in the ocean compared to God's mercy and stuff like that. Actually, she didn't say that. Mother Angelica said that, but same.
Another check.
Same vibe.
Yeah, same vibe. Another check.
So, no, but she described God as, she said the mother. So that's weird, but I know what she was trying to say, which is she's trying to impress upon us sort of gentle quality, like the gentle, like trying to touch those feelings of the tenderness of a mom's love.
That's very much an element of it. And of course, we speak of Holy Mother Church.
Yes.
So I don't want to say that there's no matriarchal side to it at all.
Yeah.
But of the two, it's obvious which is dominant.
Right.
But dominant doesn't mean exclusive. Nor should it. But I can't believe in a God who believes in gender.
What's another patriarchal religion?
Another patriarchal religion? Oh, Islam.
Oh, interesting.
Oh boy, they don't got no intercessory ladies. Let me tell you something. Islam. No, Judaism is actually a very patriarchal religion.
What about Buddhism? We're talking about Buddhism a lot. What do they do?
Well, really, they don't believe in a God. So
I don't know a lot of women. Well, I don't know a lot of monks in general, but you don't see.
Buddhist nuns.
Okay, well, I know. Okay, so,
That just blew you what you were going to say out the window. I think I didn't know that.
in terms of monks or the image of monks or just practitioners of Buddhism, you don't see a lot of, at least I haven't, women.
Well, they do have Buddhist nuns,
Yeah.
and they're not as well known, but they have them. You see them every now and then here
Oh, okay.
in Monterey Park. Believe it or not.
Why do they call them nuns though? Why is there that distinction? Because that almost presumes that there's
Because
priests.
the monks are monks and the nuns are nuns. They don't have a Buddhist priesthood.
Okay.
Because in Buddhism, strictly speaking, they don't have sacrifices.
Yeah.
So there's no priesthood.
Yeah.
To have a sacrifice, you would have to have a point to that sacrifice, and that would be a divine figure.
Right.
Now, in folk Buddhism, there are gods and goddesses who get folk sacrifices, but it's not the same thing.
Yeah.
Slapping the knee. I thought we told you about that last week.
Yeah. Slapping. What about slapping the knee? People like that. I mean, some people like that. Some people don't. People come in all shapes and sizes.
Do they?
Yeah.
Everything is beautiful in its own way, like a starry summer's night or a snow-covered winter's day. Everything is beautiful in its own way. Under God's heaven, the world's gonna find a way.
Who sang that?
Cat Stevens.
Okay, I like Cat Stevens.
Well, there you go.
Okay, I just love the look on your face. It's like there's something there.
The story is told by the Chippewa down of the Great Lake they call Gitchagumi. Superior, it said, never gives up her dead when the gales of November blow gloomy.
Is that a Cat Stevens song, I assume?
No, that's not. That's, the Canadian guy who died just recently. The Wreck of the Edmund Fitzgerald. You never heard of the Wreck of the Edmund Fitzgerald?
No. I don't know. Who died recently?
Well, yeah, this guy died a year or two ago.
Jimmy Buffett?
No, not Jimmy Buffett. No. Fading away in Margaritaville. I can't think of this guy's name. Gordon Lightfoot.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Now, Gordon Lightfoot and Jimmy Buffett, can you imagine them doing a concert together?
No, I can't.
No?
No.
Okay.
Yeah.
How about Billy Joel and Gordon Lightfoot?
What were some of his Gordon Lightfoot's other songs?
Oh, If You Could Read My Mind. If you could read my mind, love, what a tale.
I could see them doing it.
Okay, all right. Well, how about John Cougar Mellencamp?
And Billy Joel?
Yeah.
Okay, now you're trying to connect Jack and Diane with Brenda and Eddie.
Well, I mean, they're already double dating.
That would be cool to do some little melody there, merge those two together.
They could merge them, John Cougar Mellencamp would say, have you heard about Jack and Diane? Two American kids growing up in the heartland. Brenda and Eddie were the popular standees and the king and the queen of the prom.
That's perfect.
Yeah.
That's perfect.
And they could sort of interweave, the things, and then end up singing together like Peace on Earth, Goodwill to Men, like Bing Crosby and what's his name? And call it American Double Date.
Oh, man. Wow. That's perfect.
I think, it'd be real good.
Yeah.
Because their styles are so similar.
Yeah. Okay. All right. I guess that's it. That's all we have for the pre-show today, ladies and gentlemen.
But we got a lot more waiting for you in the regular show, which, as you know, as patrons, although you've paid for this, you get to enjoy with the hoi polloi. You get to enjoy with the hoi polloi the next show.
Yes, absolutely.
All right, we'll see you in a few minutes.